This week's meeting was an early Christmas miracle. If you had Alex, Leandra, and Todd suffering a humiliating loss on your Christmas list from Santa, Christmas came early for you. The meeting was to ram through a revision to the charter for OCSCS, which would also absorb USI. As mentioned in our last video, this move would forfeit millions of taxpayer money already spent and reduce district enrollment by over 800 students, costing nearly $10 million in revenue. Most importantly, it would hide the finances at USI and OCSCS from the new majority, something Chernus, Blades, and Frazier desperately want. During public comments, 10 people spoke directly to this item. 9 spoke out against, 1 spoke in favor. That's 90% against Leandra. One speaker even pointed out Leandra's conflicted since her son's employed at OCSCS. Undeterred, Alex recommended the board pass the revision and MOU to give away an entire school and their supposedly prized program. That's until Trustee Buck's motion to delay the vote until January because they'd be violating Ed Code by voting on this without 15 days to review staff recommendations. The motion was seconded by Trustee Anderson and discussion began.
I'd like to make a motion that we postpone action for a meeting after 12/21/24. Excuse me. Because the board failed to post the staff findings and recommendations with the at least 15 days prior to the approval or denial of this charter per statutory requirements in Ed Code, and I have a copy highlighted for every one of you.
Despite Anderson and Buck noting they'd be breaking the law, Alex still wanted to push ahead, citing district counsel, an attorney handpicked by Blades and Chernus himself, never mentioned the need for a 15-day period.
As it's agendized, and if we will send it to council, and if it's deemed not legal, then they will notify us. But council did prepare the MOU and did not advise us that it would be illegal to take the vote tonight.
But we posted it on the other occasions. So did they tell us on the other occasions we had to post 15 days prior?
They didn't.
So maybe it's a council issue, but
Maybe it is.
They should have told us 15 days because we missed that statutory requirement.
Lying Leandra even made the false claim, which Alex promptly shut down because he knew it could create a serious legal liability.
Our council went ahead and said to approve, go ahead.
No, our council prepared the MOU and did not advise us.
Imagine how bad a lie has to be for a lying liar like Alex to have to correct you. Ouch. Leandra and Todd then attempted to blame Anderson and Buck for not notifying district's council about the 15-day period, which is hilarious considering that's what the dudes paid for.
So how come you didn't bring this up to our council today?
All this incompetence was on full display because Alex, Leandra, and Todd scrambled to cover their butt. Suddenly, Leandra cares about extra meetings after she and Alex conspired to add 2 meetings between November and December just to cover up their lies. The self-debasement continued when Todd and Leandra thought they caught Anderson in a gotcha moment. Watch for yourself.
This is Todd. Hi.
Hello, Mr. Frazier.
So my question is, if you just found out about this Friday, how did you ask about it at CSBA?
As we were there on Saturday as well.
After fixing some technical glitches, Leandra called for a vote on Buck's motion. We can't really do it justice, so we'll just play it for you.
So the vote is to move the action to the January meeting. Mrs. Buck.
Aye.
Mrs. Anderson.
Aye.
Mr. Youngblood.
Aye.
Are you sure you're voting? So the vote is to move the action to the January meeting. Mrs. Buck.
Aye.
Mrs. Anderson.
Aye.
Mr. Youngblood.
Aye.
Are you sure you're voting?
That's right. In one of the last actions of his tenure, Youngblood voted to postpone the revision until January, with Tricia Quintero occupying his spot and Leandra and Todd relegated to minority status. The irony is the whole point of the extra meeting was to secure Youngblood's vote, something they'd always relied on and apparently took for granted. This week's meeting is the final one of the year, where they'll elect new board officers and release the first interim report. So we get to see Leandra ousted as president and the real enrollment numbers. Show up to the meeting if you can, and tune in live if you can't.